Greetings one and all, Laszlo Montgomery here with another Chinese saying for your personal collection. Man, did these 20 weeks ever fly by or what? Seems like only yesterday we were pointing at that mulberry tree and scolding the locust tree. This is the 10th and final episode for Season 6. And to finish off the season, for our closer, I pulled a good one out of the hat of useful Warring States period chengyus. 抱薪救火. And for the third time in CSP history, we are featuring that superstar of legalism, Han Feizi. You can also find today's chengyu mentioned in the Records of the Grand Historian, as well as the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 43. But before we jump into the story, let's do the usual character-by-character breakdown and see if you could guess its meaning. Bao means to hold or carry in your arms, to embrace or hug. And Xin means firewood or fuel. Jiu means to rescue or save, and Huǒ means fire. And when you line all four characters up in a row, you get carry firewood, save fire. Not such an obvious meaning. And like it is with every Chinese saying, there's got to be a story behind it that brings those four characters to life. And the story went like this. Towards the end of the Warring States period, the kingdom of Qin was growing in power every day. Its borders were expanding swiftly due to its famous policy of yuanjiao jingong, or attacking its near neighbors while making alliances with those further away. And this strategy was introduced to the pugnacious Qin King Zhaoxiang by his loyal and wise minister Feizi. One of the Qin's main targets for attack was its neighbor, the kingdom of Wei. Between 276 and 274 BC, Qin mounted 3 invasions of the kingdom of Wei, occupying large swaths of Wei territory and causing no end to the death and destruction they inflicted on the once all-powerful kingdom of Wei. In 273 BC, the kingdom of Qin launched its 4th attack on Wei. By this time, morale in Wei was so low that many soldiers didn't even bother to pick up their weapons against the onslaught. Again, Wei suffered a devastating loss of territory to Qin. The king of Wei gathered his advisors around and asked for their advice in creating a strategy against Qin. An esteemed advisor, Duanganzi, suggested that the king of Wei should voluntarily cede Nanyang to Qin. Duanganzi said that Nanyang was a prime piece of land and would no doubt please the king of Qin, and this good faith gesture would offer King Zhaoxiang ample incentive to stop attacking Wei. A visiting politician named Su Dai heard Duanganzi's suggestion and shook his head. He pointed out to the king of Wei that if you gave Qin an inch, they would demand a mile. He went on to explain that the kingdom of Qin had clear ambitions to rule all of China, and would not stop until the kingdom of Wei was soundly defeated once and for all. Some within Wei were highly suspicious of the strategy proposed by Duanganzi. Some believed he was purposely suggesting this strategy to weaken the state in order to soften it up so that he himself could seize the throne. Su Dai continued, Your Majesty, giving this territory to Qin will be about as effective in quenching their thirst for power as carrying a bundle of firewood in order to quench a fire. That's right, here is where Su Dai compared Duanganzi's thinking to Bao Xin, carrying a bundle of firewood, to Jiu Huǒ, to put out the fire. He furthermore advised the king, as long as there is still wood to consume, that fire will never stop burning. In other words, don't trust Qin. Well, despite this convincing argument from Su Dai, the king of Wei ended up taking Duanganzi's advice, and he ceded Nanyang to Qin in hopes that this would appease King Zhaoxiang and convince him to stop attacking Wei. But we all know our Qin history, and indeed, just as Su Dai had predicted, the kingdom of Qin was by no means satisfied with just Nanyang. In the 3 or 4 decades that followed, they constantly harried and attacked the kingdom of Wei. And when the King of Wei died, they saw the perfect moment to seize 20 towns from Wei before a new king could be crowned. It all came to an end in 225 BC. That's the year the Kingdom of Qin mounted an all-out siege on the capital of Wei at Daliang, today's Kaifeng in Henan province. And in order to defeat Wei, what they ended up doing was diverting the Yellow River and other nearby rivers so that the capital of Wei was flooded for 3 days, and irreparable damage was done to the city walls. Once this was accomplished, the armies of Qin poured into the capital, and after a 178-year history, the state of Wei finally fell to the kingdom of Qin. So this Chinese saying, 抱薪救火, well, you could use it for just about any kind of life situation where you think you're trying to help out, but all you're doing is making things worse. You're adding fuel to the fire, not putting it out. 抱薪救火. Well, that's as good a saying as there ever was. To close out this 6th season of a podcast show many told me wouldn't last more than 1 or 2 seasons tops. 抱薪救火. Carrying firewood to put out a fire. Sometimes you just want to lend a hand, but all you do is take matters from bad to worse. And until that time, when we meet again on the avenue, this here's Laszlo Montgomery signing off from, where am I? Santa Monica, California, just for the day. Take care, my erudite and good-looking listeners, and I'll see you in the not-too-distant future for another season and another exciting episode of the Chinese Sayings Podcast.